What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back to take a look at the Lions and 49ers injury report from Thursday's practice, as we are now 3 days away from Lions kickoff. But tonight, football's here. Oh my goodness. Cowboys and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So let's get it started.
We're going to bite a kneecap off, and we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
And welcome everybody to the video. Glad you guys are here. And we're back to dive into this injury report. Now, today is kind of a full schedule. We have this injury report that I'm going to be live for Last Second Dose tonight. So definitely tune in for that. I'm also going to be heading over to Amin's channel after that to do a stream over there. I'm going to try to get my defensive video up before it's tomorrow. I'm going to try, we take a look at the San Francisco 49ers defense. It's taking a little bit longer than I projected it to take. However, I do want to get that video out. So it could possibly be tomorrow that it comes out, and then Saturday maybe we'll do the offensive side of the ball. But I just wanted to do a little breakdown on what to expect from the 49ers, what they're going to throw at us, and what we need to be prepared for. But today we have some unfortunate news from the Lions side of the injury report that we're going to have to deal with, and we have some updates from the 49ers side. Now, tomorrow is the last day of practice for this week, and we should have more updates tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a big day for a few of these guys. Plus, we're going to get to hear from Dan Campbell, so we should get some insight there as well. So tomorrow's going to be a very big day. Saturday, usually don't hear a ton. And then Sunday, we'll get the inactive list. So we'll know who's in, who's out, game time things. I may not be able to update that. I'm going to do the best. If I have to, worst case, I may just throw it up in the community as just a list because I'm going to be at the game on Sunday. So if you're going to be there, say what's up. All right. Now, first off, before we get into this injury report, I got to give a shout out. I know y'all see it. What? I didn't do that. That's legit. I got the Goff jersey back. I had this. You may have seen it. I think I wore it for one video. I had the Jared Goff, and then it got signed by Jared Goff himself. So shout out to my man. He hooked us up. This is awesome. This is really, really cool. It pulls. I needed a jersey of a guy that's on this team. This is so cool. So shout out to Jared Goff, first off. Shout out to my man that hooked us up. You know who you are. We appreciate it. That's awesome. We appreciate it. 2 doses of what? And then it says go Lions. Y'all see it. Y'all see it. Come on, man. That's a good luck piece right there. I'm telling you. Let's dive into the injury report, okay? Let's start with the Lions side first because this is where we get one big update. Now, we don't have really any updates aside from it, but we do have one big update here. Also going to touch on some of the press conference notes that we have. Nothing crazy, but just a couple of notes because some of it has to do with the injury report as well. So let's take a look at the Lions first. So they're on the top here. You see the Wednesday side is yesterday's injury report. I thought I'd put them next to each other. That way you can see the progressions. And what you take a look at here is the only one that's changed is Taylor Decker. He went from limited participation with the finger to no participation with the finger. And that's very concerning. And the way that it sounds right now, it sounds as if the Lions are prepared for Taylor Decker to not be out there on Sunday, which is not good considering we're playing a really good defensive line against San Francisco. So that's the name that we'll definitely have to watch for on Friday to see if he returns to practice, because if he can return on Friday, that would be fantastic. Listen to what Dan Campbell says about it, because I'm sure he'll be asked about that situation with Taylor Decker. But the way it sounded in the pressers today with him having no participation is that if Taylor Decker does not play, which it sounds like he won't, but I'm leaving hope out. You never know. I'm gonna leave it out there. There's a chance. There's still a chance. Assuming Taylor Decker is not out there on Sunday. Obviously, we hope that he can get healthy and get back out there on Sunday. But if he's not playing on Sunday, what are the Lions going to do with that left tackle position? That is the question. Now, throughout the preseason, the Lions had a couple guys playing that left tackle spot. Mainly, we saw Dan Skipper because Terrell Crosby was injured for the first 2 weeks and throughout practice. So we saw Dan Skipper holding down that role. And even though it was sort of a slow start, he did come along. But unfortunately, in that final preseason game where he was playing well at left tackle, he dealt with a very serious injury. Remember, he got carted off the field. So Dan Skipper was waived injured. He has since reverted back to IR, but that means that he can't play in this game on Sunday. So he's out of the question. How about Terrell Crosby? Well, like I said, Crosby we didn't see much in preseason because of the injury. And then we did see him in that final preseason game. He didn't look that great. Now, remember, Terrell Crosby last year was playing mainly that right tackle position for us when we had to move guys around. Big V pushed to guard. He was playing right tackle. So left tackle was a little bit different, even though he's done it in the past. He was holding down that left tackle role in this to start the preseason game. So he's getting higher reps, but he did not look good. And remember, after the Detroit Lions waived him injured, Campbell said, we didn't think he was a great player for us. So he has since reverted back to the IR as well, but he can't play either because he's on IR. So both of those guys dealing with injuries. So those two are not options for the Lions in this game. Now, I've heard some thoughts, oh, well, maybe we just move Penei Sewell to the left tackle position. And I wouldn't take it off the table, but I'm here to predict that that won't happen, okay? It sounds as if it's not going to happen. It seems like the Detroit Lions don't want to move him back to the left tackle position because long term, the idea is he's going to be our right tackle. Decker's going to be our left tackle. This is unfortunate this happened in week 1. I want to keep him at the right tackle position, let him continue to grow and get comfortable because it's so different from flipping to the other side of the field. It sounds like the Lions don't want to do that. Could they do it for a week? Maybe. I mean, maybe they could. They could consider this, but it sounded as if that won't be the case from what TJ Hockenson said, but also Anthony Lynn, because when he was asked about Penei Sewell, he talked about the ups and downs for Sewell, but, he's seen improvement there. And actually, he didn't even know what PFF was when someone brought up. I just thought that was funny. He did say, look, when he came on campus, this guy was a run blocker, but the pass protection has improved. It's just about learning further mistakes. And then someone asked him, when's a good timeline for you to be, feeling really good, taking those strides, switching positions? He said, hopefully week 1. It sounds like he's going to be playing the right tackle position. I wouldn't count out the idea of him playing left tackle for week 1, but I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think they would have mixed that up, have him go back to left tackle, then try to push him back to right tackle once Taylor Decker gets healthy because Decker's not moving spots. So I don't think the Lions will do that. Sounds like he's going to be right tackle for this game. Yes, is it a little concerning? Sure, it's a little bit concerning. I mean, I thought Decker would show some struggles in this game anyway, so to now not have your left tackle, that's definitely concerning. So, who's our guy? Well, earlier today, the Lions went out and signed Will Holden. Hopefully, he's not Holden during the game. Okay, he probably won't be playing. Will Holden was signed to the practice squad. 6'6", 330 pounds. Big guy. 5th-round pick back in 2017 out of Vanderbilt, so he was playing in the SEC. And he spent time with multiple teams, including the Saints back in 2018. Also spent a little bit of time with San Francisco and most recently with the Indianapolis Colts. And I went back to watch some of his film from last year. I saw him play against the Steelers because he started, week 16? 15, 16 against the Steelers last season. They were 10-4. Steelers were 11-3 in that game. And he didn't look terrible. I mean, he didn't. He's a big guy. Shows some of that athleticism to get to the edge, so I can understand schematically how they think this may work. But it seems like it's just a depth addition that they're adding here. Now, because they went out and signed a guy to the practice squad, they had to release someone off the practice squad, and they decided to release receiver Javon Mckinley. That part did surprise me. I'm kind of surprised they decided to release Javon Mckinley. Now, the Lions don't need to stay deep at receiver because they have 7 receivers on the roster. And Anthony Lynn said today that we could see Benson playing in this game on Sunday. I hope we do. But we don't really need more receivers on the practice squad because we're already so deep in the active roster. However, that means they went with Sage Surratt over Javon Mckinley. Waive Mckinley, he's going to go through waivers. There's a chance that they could bring back Javon Mckinley if no one picks it up. I mean, they did it the first time they put him back on the practice squad. Maybe when Decker's healthy, they're able to do that. Even though Sage didn't have tons of opportunities in the preseason, he didn't stand out at all. I mean, I don't think he had any stats. He did stand out to me more in practice than Javon did. But in the games, it was Mckinley. So maybe they're still seeing at practice he's playing well and they like it better. I don't know. It doesn't seem like this offensive lineman is the guy that they're putting in there to start. It seems like just a depth move. That's what it sounds like. Plus, it's so late in the week right now. I don't know if he'd be able to be prepared for a game. It sounds like maybe he could be brought to the active roster in Sunday's game as depth, emergency. You need someone, you put him in at that tackle spot. But it sounds as if Matt Nelson's going to get the role at left tackle. According to TJ Hockenson, he talked about Matt Nelson, stepping into this spot. And they're like, we trust him. He did things against Khalil Mack. He's been here for a few years. See, I think when it comes down to the offensive line position, the more and more I try to watch the film on it, but also get where coaches, how they're making decisions, especially with the Lions, be about reps. The trust, you have to be able to trust that he can be on the field consistently. You saw a lot of reps with Matt Nelson, and you've seen him play on both sides. You actually kind of forgot this. When Skipper went down in that final preseason game, even though Nelson was playing the right tackle, and he played right tackle against Khalil Mack, where he gave up a couple of pressures in that game, but it was still a pretty solid game considering the spot that he was in. It wasn't Mack every snap, and that's when Crosby went down. He played 49 snaps in that game, but it was a solid game considering he had to step up against a pretty darn good defensive line in Chicago. Now he's flipping spots. But he did it in that preseason game, and he finished with a very high overall grade, according to PFF, which Anthony Lynn apparently doesn't know about. But if you watch it back, he did look solid. Did he look great? No. But at the same time, I think with offensive linemen is that you know that they're going to get beat from time to time, especially when you get to the backups. It's just about guys that you feel like you can rely upon because we've seen him. He's been healthy. And guys that you can trust when you put him out there. I think that's what they feel with Matt Nelson. He's pretty athletic. He's not really a people mover, but he does fit the scheme well. So having the ability to play both spots, it sounds like he's going to be the next man up. I would have assumed this would have been Skipper, but because he's injured, they can't do that. I do think it's a lot about the reps and just seeing this guy in practice, because when he went out there, and even though it's a really tough transition, a guy went from defensive lineman to offensive lineman, when he flipped to left tackle, you know, it's different. But you watched that game, and he just looked much more comfortable with that transition during the game. You know, hand placement looked much better. Get off looked much more comfortable. In comparison to Crosby, where his hands were just high, and it just didn't look right. And that's probably because of how much time he's missed, so it's not all his fault. The athleticism, his ability to get to the second level, and in pass protection, he got beat, you know, like once or twice inside. He does have some athleticism to recover on pass rushers around the edge. But at the same time, even though he may get beat here and there in the lines, we'll probably have to throw guys like Hawk or running backs to chip and help in pass protection. And really, that's why today the emphasis was, hey, we got to stay above the chains. All right, we can't get in second and long. We got to get good production on first down. We got to get 4 yards, is what Anthony Lynn said on a run play. And a pass play, you know, he didn't say the exact amount. He said explosive pass plays were 16. But you got to stay ahead of the chains, because if you get them in a situation where it's third and long, they can pin their ears back, that pass rush is going to get to you, and they can cover all day. So we need to be tight in our protection, and we have to have success on early downs. So it sounds like Matt Nelson could be the next guy up. Definitely seems like a downgrade at that spot, but at the same time, if Decker is dealing with a serious injury where he's got his finger jacked up, Williams, Michael Brockers, Levi Onwuzurike, you know, the defensive line are still participating, which is good news there. AJ Parker, limited participation again. Keep an eye out for Nick Hill, Roby Coleman when it comes game week. They can activate 2 guys off the practice squad. It could be a tackle. We still have Darren Paolo on the practice squad, but he also played right tackle. So they may go with Paolo instead. I'm not sure, or maybe they'll go with the left tackle because he's played that spot, you know, as kind of an emergency guy if they have to. But you move on to the San Francisco 49ers. There's some updates here. Mosley, the cornerback, because cornerback's a spot where they're, you know, a little bit light in depth. Still no participation. Looks like they're going to be missing Mosley, which is one of their top corners, and they could be possibly throwing a Josh Norman, maybe one of the young guys into the mix. Again, we said Divergent is one of those guys that could step up, so we'll see what they do at that cornerback spot. They have some guys on the practice squad. We'll see what they do there, but it's not looking good for Mosley, Emmanuel Mosley. At receiver, just a quick little update with Jalen Hurd. Still no participation dealing with the knee. This is since August 29th, so I found the update today. August 29th, he's been out. That was the last preseason game. He hasn't practiced since then, and that's why he is an IR candidate. Javon Kinlaw did improve, limited participation, and I guess Shanahan did expect this to happen today, and he did. So good for Javon Kinlaw. Did have participation, and that's probably a good thing, trending in the right direction for him trying to find the field. The interior defense line, we talked about Kinlaw and Givens both had no participation yesterday, but now they're both here with limited participation. So it looks like they may be getting some of their reinforcements back on the interior defensive line, which just means that this offensive line is really going to have to step up big time. I know the tackles are going to be the focus, but I would really take a look at the guards, Jonah Jackson and Big V. I think those 2 guys are guys that need to play well because they help a lot of the tackles. Those are 2 guys that I would keep an eye on, and then again, you just got to stay ahead. But if we can run block well, we'll be all right. And Anthony Lynn talked about that. You know, run blocking, something that he's learned not to be stubborn with. If it's working, we'll roll it. We're going to try to stay balanced, but whatever works. If that means rushing 50 times or throwing 50 times, whatever works, we'll roll with it. We're trying to stay balanced, but we're going to go with what works, and I'm not going to be stubborn about it either. He said he learned that back in the AFC Championship when it basically lost him the game. Continuing through, Trey Lance still participating today, limited fashion, but they were videos of him throwing passes. It seems like he's in a good spot for returning for Sunday's game, which just brings a threat. Now, he won't be the starter. It will be Garoppolo, but it is just that threat where he can come in, like we said yesterday, from drive to drive. And when we dive into this defensive video, you'll see what I'm talking about. But we'll see. Either way, it's trending in the right direction where he probably will have his jersey on and he'll be in uniform. But we'll keep an eye on it. Back-to-back days, limited participation. Then after that, no changes. Full participation throughout the board there with those guys at the bottom. So definitely good news for the 49ers. Unfortunate news for us today. And Friday's going to be a big day. We'll learn a lot, though, about Dan Campbell and what he says about these injuries and also the injury report. Because if Decker can return tomorrow, that's going to be a great sign. So don't count him out yet. But like Hawk said, it is next man up mentality. And everybody's got injuries. They got injuries. We got injuries. It's a very unfortunate spot to have an injury, especially against their defensive line being their strong suit. But it's going to happen. You got to find a way. You got to find a way. So I'm sure the energy will be there. It's going to be tough for Nelson, but at the same time, he did stand up against Mac, and it's impressive that he's been able to flip spots. So we'll see how they address that, but it seems like Nelson is the next guy up. Regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, Prep, for watching, and I'm out.